Hey peeps, this is the video for the 3-9 sheet for our math exploration. We're going to start with the Miss Yang problem. So Miss Yang bought 5 chickens and 3 ducks for $81. Our other clue is a chicken cost $5 more than a duck. Now, they would like to know what was the cost of each duck and what was the cost of each chicken. So let's start with what we know first. We know that Miss Yang bought 5 chickens and 3 ducks. So let's go ahead and give her 3 ducks, and let's give her 5 chickens. Okay, so now we know that the cost was $81. Now we have a second clue. That's this one right here. Chicken is $5 more than a duck. So that means that each of these boxes, besides having kind of an unknown value, we also know that each of them is $5 more. So, falling back on what we know about model drawing, it all relates back to addition. We know that these 3 units plus these 5 units, plus these 5 5s right here. If we added all that up, or pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 unknowns plus 25, we would get 81. So, how do we solve it? Well, if we eliminate the values that we know, let's see what happens. Let's take 25 away from 81. That leaves us with 56. Now we have 8 units equaling 56. Well, that means 1 unit must equal 7. Well, if 1 unit equals 7, that means that each duck was $7. And if each chicken is $7 plus 5, because they're $5 more than the ducks, that means each chicken is actually worth 12. So that means, what's the cost of each duck? $12. And what's the cost of each chicken? Whoops, sorry, duck should be 7. And what's the cost of each chicken? It's going to be 12. Now, does the math add up? Well, if each of these chickens is worth $12, that's a total of 60. And if each duck is worth 7, that's 3 ducks. 3 times 7 is 21. Well, 60 and 21 add up to 81. Booyah! Alright, let's move on to the first B question. Sue and Sherry collect old postcards. After Sue sold 1/5 of hers and Sherry sold 62 of hers, they each had the same number of postcards. If they started with 188 postcards altogether, how many did Sue end up with? So, to solve this problem, we're going to first write down our Sue and our Sherry. Okay? Now, Sue sold 1/5 of hers, correct?
Yeah.
So, Sue sold 1/5. So, we're going to give her a bar with 5 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to shade in the 1/5 that she sold. Now, Sherry sold 62. I'm not quite sure what to write yet, but I do know that she sold 62. Right?
Right.
Now, after she sold that 62, they each had the same number of postcards. Well, that's the key. Sue ended up with 4 units left over after she sold her 1/5. That means Sherry, after she sold her 62, also ended up with 4 units of those postcards. Okay? So we're going to write sold 62. So Sue sold 1/5, Sherry sold 62. But they each ended up with 4 units left. Now it says if they started with 188 postcards, Well, that means that at the very beginning, they started with 188 all together. Correct?
Correct.
So now let's see if we can solve this problem. And it almost sounds like like the one that we just did. That means that at the very beginning, before anything was sold, they had 188, which means Sue had 5 units, Sherry had 4 units, plus what?
Plus 62.
Aha. And all of that added up to
188.
booyah. So now, what do you think we need to do with that 62?
Maybe you need to add it to the 188, maybe?
We could possibly add it, but
Or
if
maybe
we
subtract.
because if we think about the last problem, all these units plus 62 add up to 188. So that's 9 units plus 62 equals 188. If we subtract the 62 over here, and we subtract the 62 over there, then we get those units all by themselves, and we can use division to figure out their value. So let's see. If we do the subtraction here, that's 126. So now we know that Sherry's 4 units, Sue's 5 units are worth 9 units. And 9 units here, we now know, are going to be worth 126 postcards. So, if 9 units is worth 126 postcards, that means 1 unit is going to be worth how many postcards?
14.
14. So that means if 1 unit's worth 14, we can come all the way back up here and say that every single one of these units is worth 14. So how many did Sue end up with? So that means how many did she end up with at the end after she sold her 1/5? Well, she ended up with 4 units that are each worth 14. So that looks like 14 times 4. So if we use some number sense there, that would be 4 times 10 and 4 times 4. So 16 and 40 for an answer of 56. Booyah! Alright folks, let's go ahead and take care of this last problem. Kelly bought 4 apples and 6 pears for $5. Joey bought 8 apples and 2 pears for $4. So find the price of an apple. Okay, so no joke, this one is a bit of a tougher problem. But again, with that model drawing, that visual is definitely going to help you. So the first thing I did was I set up my problem with the amount that Kelly had. So Kelly has 4 apples. I'm actually going to go ahead and label these. Okay, and she has 6 pears. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there are Kelly's pears. Now, we know that the grand total of everything that Kelly has here is going to be $5. Okay? So, as I was writing this out, I kind of noticed something. 8 apples and 2 pears. 8 apples and 2 pears are worth $4. Now, that information right now is not actually helping me, but I did notice something about those 8 apples. 8 apples, 4 apples. 8 apples, 4 apples. 2 pears, 6 pears. 8 apples and 2 pears are worth $4. What are 4 apples plus 2 pears worth? Well, if it's half the number of apples and half the number of pears, and of course I wrote down 2 pears again, so let's go ahead and fix that. 1 pear. So 4 apples and 1 pear have to be worth half the price. So $2. So 4 apples, 1 pear are worth $2. Well, how's that going to help us? Well, here's how. 4 apples, and here I have 4 apples. 1 pear, here I have 1 pear. And what do I know about these 4 apples and that 1 pear? They're worth $2. Now wait a second. This entire bar is worth 5. But now I know that these 4 plus that 1 pear is worth 2. That means that this pair, this pair, this pair, this pair, this pair, or those 5 pairs are worth $3. Wait a second. 5 pairs are worth $3. Highway robbery, if you ask me. But anyways, no one's asking me. 5 pairs are worth $3. That means 1 pair is worth 60 cents. If 1 pair is worth 60 cents, well, that means that in these $2, that 1 pair right there is already 60 cents. Well, if that pair is 60 cents and from here to here is $2, well then that means that these 4 apples have got to be worth $1.40. $1.40 plus 60 cents is $2. Well now, I now know the cost of each pair, 60 cents. I need the cost of the apples. Well, it's 4 apples equal $1.40. So, some quick off-camera math, and I come out with an answer of apples cost 35 cents. $1.40 divided by 4 apples, and I come out with 1 apple costing 35 cents. The end.